And Prince Harry's obsessive war against the British press was dealt a brutal blow today as his phone hacking case against News Group, newspaper's publisher of The Sun, was thrown out by a judge who branded the Duke's claims implausible, inherently unlikely and vague and limited. While part of Harry's lawsuit against NGN will still go to trial, it comes as no surprise to see this legal argument fall flat on its face after Harry admitted he had no evidence to prove phone hacking in his High Court battle against Mirror Group newspapers back in June.
You think your phone was consistently hacked throughout the 15-year period between 1996 and 2011, the time period that makes up your claim against MGN?
It could have been happening on a daily basis. I simply don't know.
Are you aware of any evidence to show this?
No, that's part of the reason I'm here, my lord.
So what do you think? As Harry's phone hacking claim against the Sun publisher is thrown out with scathing criticism from the judge, is he losing his war against the British tabloid press? Dan at gbnews.com. Vote in our poll at gbnews on Twitter. But to debate this now, I'm joined by the pro-Sussex journalist Nina Myskow, deputy leader of UKIP Rebecca Jane, and the editor-in-chief of Majesty magazine, Ingrid Seward. So, Ingrid, what's your take on this?
Well, I don't think Harry has completely lost his war with the tabloids, because he has got his day, or many more days maybe, in court come January. So they've thrown out the things that he couldn't prove, especially this so-called meeting between Buckingham Palace and the Sun Group newspapers, but he has still got his day in court. So I don't think he's completely lost it. But I feel that it's, other than his battle against the press, I think it's, to my mind, it's his way of avenging his mother's death, because in Harry's mind, you know, the press killed his mother. And I think that's what it's all about. So he's not going to give up. You know, this is more than just getting at the press. It's sort of like a really big mission for him.
But Rebecca Jane, the judge was scathing of Harry today. He really said that a lot of what Harry argued in his statement simply wasn't credible.
Absolutely. He's a delusionist fantasist who has completely and utterly made up half of the things that he says, and there's no base in evidence. You know, for me, I kind of want to go to the lawyers and say, why on earth are you taking this man's money? You've got to have evidence. We all know that when you go to court. You can't just try and sue people on an absolute whim. So Harry, I mean, obviously Ingrid is absolutely correct. Harry has got a grudge to grind, and he's trying to do that by using the courts. But the problem is he's got six High Court cases now, and that is going to do nothing but bring him a whole lot of unhappiness. Whether he's right or whether he's wrong, he's never going to find peace down an absolute path of complete destruction. And that's the only thing that Harry's getting from this.
Nina Myskow, you disagree with Rebecca Jane, don't you? You think he's winning?
I completely disagree. The fact of the matter, he has 3 court cases going, and he is perfectly entitled to all of them. And the reason that there is no evidence for him to produce for a judge to say, look, here's an agreement between the royal palaces, either Clarence House or Buckingham Palace, and News Group newspapers, is because nobody is going to write that down. Nobody's going to have a document signed by King Charles and say Rebecca Wade. We all know that horse trading goes on, that there are ways and means of doing it. And the royal family is very, very anxious about not having to go to court to go through details. They absolutely do not want to be in the same position they were in 1993, when The Sun and other tabloids actually published an audible version as well of a really embarrassing conversation between Charles and Camilla, it was known as Tampon Gate, while Charles was still married to Diana. And the last thing they want is for dirty linen to be washed in public. And so that's why William settled out of court. William got a large payout in 2020. And so the fact that Harry has been prevented from pursuing this bit about phone hacking, everybody knows that he must. People aren't stupid. They must know he's been hacked.
But Ingrid Stewart, isn't the issue that there was effectively a statute of limitations and it passed, and so Harry was trying to claim that he wasn't aware of something when actually he had every right, if he'd wanted to take his case previously.
He had, I think, well, Nina would know this, but I think he had 6 years in which to work on this case.
6 years,
and he said he didn't work on it because, the Queen was doing a deal with the Sun. I mean, even by Harry's standards, that is pretty ridiculous. And I'm not putting Nina down because I know she knows about these things because she worked, I think, for the Sun or whatever. But I just don't think that happened. And I think that, and Harry has got, if it did happen, Harry can't prove it. And
well, Rebecca Jane, the judge clearly doesn't think it happened.
Absolutely, yeah, there's not a shred of evidence, so we can all sit here and summarise, but we all know for an absolute fact, if there was any kind of evidence whatsoever, Harry would have thrown it in the court. He didn't. There wasn't one piece of evidence. And if you can still bring a claim, even if it is out of time, if you have good reason and evidence for doing so. The judge has very much said, there's not a shred of evidence. That's why his claim has been disbarred, because you can't bring it when it is out of time. And the points that Harry was saying, the judge has said, he knew about these things all the way along. He had absolute opportunity to bring this claim. He didn't bring it in that time because he was obviously onto a whole of the different things, and because he's not got the attention that he wanted from his move overseas and the love and adoration he thought he was getting.
This is back a decade ago. Rebecca, we're talking about a decade ago.
Yes, but Nina, can I just put to you specifically what Mr. Justice Fancourt said in regards to this claim that there was some sort of secret deal, secret agreement between the late Queen and News Group newspapers. So this is the words of the judge. He just notes that the only evidence supporting its existence was the Duke's own witness statement, which he then went on to describe as vague and limited. He said the existence of any form of secret agreement was implausible and inherently unlikely. So, Nina, are you really, simply to continue defending Harry, prepared to question
the
verdict of Mr. Justice Fancourt, who has looked at all the evidence, or lack of evidence?
With the greatest respect, the judge does not know the workings of Fleet Street and the workings of the royal family. And you can't, what Charles wanted was for himself to be accepted as king and for Camilla to be accepted as queen consort, as the Queen wanted it, and is now queen, for heaven's sake. But that's what he wanted, and so that's why they have done a deal with the devil, and they play along because they do not
the devil,
want...
Nina, as Ingrid points out, you used to be part of that news organisation.
I was. I was the rock writer on The Sun, and so I wrote about pop music. So, so sue me. But
you've just called them the devil.
Well, it's an expression. It's a normal phrase. But they have sold their souls. They have sold their souls to get the press they want. The royal family have sold their souls to maintain a good press.
OK, well, I've got to let give Ingrid the final word to respond to that. Nina, has Charles and William really sold their souls?
No, they haven't. They're extremely cautious, especially with the Sun, and they are very, very cautious, and they simply do not do deals. Very occasionally, like when the Sun, years and years ago, when the Sun printed a letter a private letter Prince Philip had written, they settled out of court. They always settle out of court, but they don't do these kind of deals, especially. When things are, years ago it was different, as you know, but nowadays you've got to be incredibly careful.
Fascinating arguments. Ingrid Stewart, Nina Myskow, Rebecca Jane, thank you both so much. Apologies for some of the sound quality there, but who do you agree with? Is Prince Harry losing his war against the British tabloid press? Diane, this is via Twitter, she writes, he needs to give it up and get on with his life. Has he even got the means to fund all these court cases? Ma writes, he was never winning, and it's especially worse now that public support has shifted so dramatically. Give it up, Harry. And Stephen writes, Harry's claim for illegal information gathering can still go ahead. It's all still to play for. So, yeah, they're at this point, will be a trial next year. So I guess to an extent he's won. Your verdict now in, it's overwhelming. 88% of you say Harry is losing his war. Just 12% of you think he's not.